Blessings and good day. Happy Friday. Um, Not exactly sure how I'm going to deliver or roll this out, but I will do the best that I can with the capacity that I have right now currently. Um, this may or may not be fodder for what I learned in therapy today, but I literally just finished my therapy session about 10 minutes ago. So, even this space is a bit odd for me. And what I mean by that is typically after my sessions, I would try to give myself space, time, and energy, capacity, uh, space to still process, feel, think, believe, fill in blanks here. Um, but ultimately, just to process, the things that um, I've heard and said in therapy. It just gives me time to retain things, dwell on things, meditate on things that I feel like, may have value. So it's I guess you would call it an intentional, deliberate way for me to just like preserve my psychological space, right? I typically don't scroll. I typically don't entertain any phone calls or texts or anything like that. I just sit with the energy. Um, this might be that might be the end of the vlog right there, right? Um, but it is a form of self care. Um, and so again, I just try to do that in order for me to like preserve, the essence of what my experience was in therapy, right? Whether good or bad, or you know, good and not so good. I won't say bad because it's all part of healing. That being said, drawing that out enough, I don't really have a title per se. Um, I'll just show you this. And this is homework that my doc gave me. And he gave this to me. Naturally, we were talking about anxiety. Um, I was kind of retelling some things that occurred this week, the last couple weeks. I tend to go to my sessions every other week. It just gives me time, additional time for me to live out um, the things that I need to work on. But this sheet is something that my doc actually drew up. So on one side, well, let me preface this. He initially was just going to give me one or the other kind of thing, but then as he began jotting it, he realized that there's value in doing both. And so what he really wanted me to do and wants me to do as homework is to identify the crutches or the things, the thoughts, the ideals that keep me from not dealing with my anxiety, right? And by not dealing, I mean not confronting, avoiding and withdrawing. You know, for instance, what's an automatic negative thought? So this is a term in psychology, right? An ANT, automatic negative thought. And typically that's something that's hardwired, something that we've learned early on in our development, in our childhood, in traumatic situations about ourselves, self-perception. And as a result, we think a certain thing about ourselves or about people around us that um, essentially affect, the views of ourselves and how we treat ourselves, how we love ourselves. So automatic negative thoughts. So identifying what's the first thing, the default thought that comes into mind when something happens that gives me anxiety. Whether it's people, whether it's an atmosphere, a situation. What is the specific type of anxiety that I'm trying to avoid? Is it social anxiety? Is it a feeling? Feeling shame or feeling down or feeling upset about something, etc., etc. So identifying a specific thought or feeling. What is the physical effect, right? So, we're just in the awareness phase, not really doing. But you know, awareness is 9/10 of the law in regards to resolving issues, right? You can't fix or fight what you don't confront. You can't confront something if you're not aware of something. You're not aware of something if you're not taking the steps to actually identify what's going on within you. So this is what this is about. So, you know, what's my heart rate? What's my breathing like? Other physical things, you know, am I sweating? Do I have stomach pains, etc., etc.? So that's on the left side. The right side has to do with, because there's balance to everything, yin and yang. So the left side represents the crutch, right? The thing that's holding me back. The right side is the active part. And by active, one of the primary principles I've been working on to combat negative thoughts, toxic behaviors is behavioral activation. So behavioral activation is more or less in the realm of cognitive behavior therapy, but it's another way of basically just altering the energy, channeling the energy, converting the energy, right? Some would say magic of sorts, alchemy, if you will, right? Whatever you call it. But the active part, the activated part, is identifying how I engage my anxiety, how I actually confront it or confront my anxiety. What did I choose to do regardless of the effects of said anxiety? What did I not let eat and consume me? How was I able to overcome? You know, these are just a few of the questions. Um, when, you know, so putting a timeline together. When did I face, or when do I face the anxiety and not let it stop me from achieving what I want to achieve? So I guess if I were to title or name this, um, what I learned in therapy today would be um, not letting my anxiety be a crutch that prevents me from walking into my purpose. Yeah, it's got a nice ring to it. Yeah, I like it. So again, I probably won't put this out for mass consumption. Again, this is just another way for me to get the energy out. Um, and I may do this a bit more. I was doing this when I initially started this series a couple years ago, very sparingly, may I add, but I found it extremely difficult to articulate myself in those spaces, mainly because it was just a lot of high emotion. Um, and some things just aren't for mass consumption. Some things are, some things aren't. And I'm still navigating that. I'm still really trying to gauge what I want to have out on the airways for mass consumption, and what I feel is very therapeutic for someone else, right? But not at the cost of my own peace of mind. Um, but I have to strike a balance too, because in order for someone else to receive healing, sometimes I gotta show. Sometimes I have to show my wounds, and again, like that's equally part of this project. That is the DV project, is navigating that. As always, keep swimming, keep building.